Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new episode of Doctor Who and Autism Celebrations. Today, I'm joined with Jack, and it's going to be pretty cool because speaking about Doctor Who, there's no better thing to talk about at the moment because it's all
Certainly.
so exciting. So, Jack, it's great to have you on today. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good, mate. Just excited to be talking about Doctor Who, really.
Yeah, it's a life now, isn't it? Just talk about it.
Yeah, I could never get tired of talking about it, let me tell you.
Yeah. Um, it is very cool. So with Doctor Who, when did you start watching it?
I started watching it, and I do remember watching the first episode of the revival, which came out when I was four. I'm pretty sure I didn't watch all of series one straight away. I remember that I ducked in and out. But I do remember watching the Slovene two-parter and then the finale when they aired. And the finale completely blew my mind because I got so confused when Christopher Eccleston, quote unquote, is what I used to say, he blew up and then transformed into another man. I was so confused. But yeah, from 4 years old, that's when I started watching Doctor Who.
Yeah. It's crazy how time flies. I'm in 2023.
Yeah, exactly. I'm 23 now, and David Tennant has come back to play the Doctor. It's certainly been a yeah, it's certainly been a wild ride, and it's kind of gone full circle, I feel.
Yeah, I can't believe it. Like, I wasn't as shocked to see David Tennant back when it was announced because you kind of sensed that that was going to happen anyway.
Yeah.
I was more surprised that Catherine Tate was actually returning when I found that out.
Yeah, of course. And especially because of how Donna's story ended as well. It kind of felt like, oh, we're not going to see any more from her.
Yeah,
But then, Russell always knows how to surprise us. So,
yeah. Do you think Donna will have a happy ending, or do you think it'll be all bad for her?
well, obviously, I have that little famous theory of mine that things won't go well for Donna, but that's also what I believe should happen, just to not lessen the impact of series four and how that ended. And I feel like having her, sacrifice herself in some way would certainly set up the tone and also the character of Shooty's Doctor as well, which I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah, because I think I read somewhere that like Shooty's going to be quite vulnerable. Um,
Yeah.
so I imagine something's going to happen in the 60th to to say why he's going to be that way.
Yeah, and as well, Shooty himself is also going to be in the 60th specials. So what capacity, we don't know. But the fact that he's there alongside Tennant and Catherine Tate as well does imply that he'll have some involvement in whatever's going on with Donna's story.
That is good. It is good to have like just him there, like you say. It's going to be really cool. Um, I shared something yesterday where I'm always intrigued to know when they're going to air because like there's so many scenarios that we could have. There's like half a dozen ways they can air.
Yeah.
Like what would you like to happen like when each episode would air?
Oh, see, I'm very conflicted on this one. I obviously don't want them to release them all on one day because I feel like that would just be a little anything if they did do that. But for me, I like to do them on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So let me just get my calendar up.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, the 23rd,
So
24th, and the 25th.
yes, yeah, that's how I'd like it to go. Just because you got one special after the other, and then when it ends on the 25th, you're exactly a month away from the Christmas special.
Yes, that would be good. What I would like, well, I shared something yesterday, and load of comments on my Doctor Who Instagram page. I made a graphic with two scenarios, and some people were saying a little bit different. So the scenarios that I said was the one we were just saying, the one you liked, the 23rd, 24th,
Yeah,
25th, which would be good because one day after the other. The only negative of that would be is that we don't have a lot of time to talk about each special. Um,
yeah,
for a little bit. So the one I would rather it be would be weekly. So, and I would think it would be good if it was. 23rd is a no-brainer. I think the 23rd has to be the first special, in my
Yeah.
opinion. 23rd was the first special. We missed the Saturday, so the Saturday after the 23rd, because I believe Doctor Who should go back to the Saturday slots now.
Yeah.
So whatever the 1st December is, and then I think it will end on December 9th, which should give about 2 weeks to promote the Christmas special, which is a long time really, because I don't think you need a long time to promote it, because normally when Christmas comes, they promote it quite near to the time anyway.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't know if you kept up to date with the whole marketing thing with Chris Chibnall's era,
Yeah,
but a lot of the episodes and all that got heavily marketed, or even just marketing or stuff, especially for a Christmas special. But who knows? I mean, the only thing I'd say against that is that the anniversary specials would be airing outside the anniversary month. However,
yeah,
that has happened a fair bit before, especially with the first ever anniversary special, the Three Doctors. I believe those episodes aired, I think it was January that year. It's
yeah,
like that was way before. So it's certainly not unheard of. And it's not too far away, not too far past the anniversary month anyway. So
yeah,
no complaints from me, to be honest.
yeah. I don't. The only one I don't want to see, I don't mind it if it's either of them. The only one I
Yeah.
don't want to see is where some people, like when I made that graphic, they said they want it. Some people want it to start the first special to start of November, so they go weekly to get the last special, the giggle, on the 23rd. Which I don't want it to be that way, because I always feel the 60th first episode should be on the 23rd, not the last
Yeah.
episode on the 23rd, because we finished before it even started.
Yeah, true. Unless, again, this is just me with my theory hat, is that the giggle, because, we don't really know a lot about these specials anyway in the grand scheme of things, but
Yeah,
they saved the one for the 23rd, whichever one. I mean, they could have the second one on the
yeah,
23rd, for all we know.
yeah,
Whichever one it is on the 23rd, they saved that one for that date because it is going to be the multi-doctor special, where we see little cameos from, I don't know, Matt Smith, Jodie, hey, even Christopher Eccleston, you never know. But
you never know.
yeah, that could be the reason why whichever episode airs on there would be the multi-doctor one.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like the first one is not as surprising. I
Yeah,
think most could probably tell what's going to happen in that episode more than the other two. The other two are more
yeah.
secretive, especially Wild Blue Yonder. That
Oh
that
yeah.
that is very secretive. They don't want anyone to know about that one. So that could be interesting.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, even the mention of the Wild Blue Yonder, we can't really say like, oh, we don't even know what the monsters are going to be in that episode because we know Special One's got Beat the Meep and the Wrath Warriors, and then Special Three has the Celestial Toymaker. Well, Neil Patrick Harris. We don't actually
Mm.
even know if it's Celestial Toymaker. That's just a
Um,
popular fan confirmation, so it hasn't even really been confirmed. But
I would love it not to be, purely because everyone thinks it is.
yeah, yeah. To be honest, same here. As much as I am intrigued in bringing back such a iconic classic villain, especially one from where the episodes that that villain appeared in are lost to time. So it would be nice to see how they approach the villain, especially with limited, source material and stuff.
Yeah,
But then again, I don't know. Seeing Neil Patrick Harris play a completely new villain, I feel like would be pretty cool as well.
yeah, yeah. Because the Toymaker would link back to the very start if they
Yeah,
did do the Toymaker, because that was like, I think it was only one story with the first Doctor, so it would make
yeah,
sense. It would make perfect sense for the Toymaker to be in it. But yeah, I it's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. Um, but yeah, like you've got probably returning characters. It's the best time to do it for the 60th. Bring it back as
yeah,
many people as you can.
yeah. Exactly. Especially from what we've seen from the trailers, there's a lot of references and nostalgia, and that's what an anniversary special should be. Acknowledge the past, but at the same time, look towards the future, and that's what why it's a good idea that they've got Shooty there as well, which is very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah, even the one line shoot is said in the trailer. I don't know what's going on here, so neither do we. But that's why they say it, because we all want to know what's happened, but we have to wait.
Yeah, but thankfully it's only well, it's just over 3 months, around about 3 months now until we see these specials, which is very exciting. And I tell you, when the first teaser dropped at the end of The Power of the Doctor, and then they confirmed that we've got to wait till November this year, I was like, oh no, oh no. Like, we're just waiting for a very long time to see more Doctor Who. But I feel like time has flown by because we've had a lot of news in between, not just for the 60th, but also for Series 14 as well.
Yeah.
So we've had a lot of stuff to keep us tied over, which, has made it better for me personally.
Yeah, it's been better because, like, of course, with Chibnall, we didn't really get any of that. We didn't get any of these announcements. It's more so nearer the time. Like, Flux Martyr King was terrible. Like, we only got
Yeah,
that really. We were thinking, is there even going to be is there going to be another series? Because it's almost like they weren't showing anything until really close to the date that they all began.
yeah. I remember it was right at the end of actually no, I think it was very early October that the marketing properly started for Flux, and then it aired. It was Halloween,
Yeah, it was
so it was
Halloween.
like literally no time at all. And yeah, I just thought it was a bit of a strange strategy, to be honest.
Yeah, because really the marketing for the 60th started. You could say when David Tennant was announced. Well, we didn't know who's going to be in the 60th really at that point, but really Christmas Day that they share a little teaser. They share, I think, a trailer as well.
Mhm.
Um, it was a pretty long trailer actually as well, so it was really good.
Yeah, yeah, it certainly was a really good trailer, and it's one I have watched a lot since
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
Yeah,
because like us being, let's say, really good fans for all this time, even in the trailer, you see references to, like, for example, when David Tennant says to, who knows who he's talking to, but he says if she ever remembers me, she's gonna die. Like, us being really good fans, we know that's what he says for Wilfred in End of Time. So
yeah,
just noticing those little things.
yeah, exactly. And it does make you think who is David talking to as well.
Yeah. I think he is talking to Rose, who's played by Yasmin Finney. I think that's who he's speaking to, but
Yeah, that's kind of where I've gone with that as well. Because I feel like at least for the first special, Rose will get a lot of screen time because she'll kind of be like, um, kind of acting how Donna, her mother would act normally, but obviously Donna can't, act certain ways because she's completely oblivious to what's going on around her because of the whole memory wipe thing.
yeah,
But I feel like that'll be a nice way to kind of reference the older Donna whilst not having Donna, act like Donna, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see all these new characters. I hope Yasmin Finney character does get a bit more than just the 60th. I think it'd be nice if you see her at least maybe in series 14, perhaps.
Yeah, I also hope for that as well. Because I have been a fan of the entire Noble family for a long time now, and the fact we're getting a new addition to the family, which does set up, not just Rose's return, but we could see, other Noble family members reappear in Series 14, and obviously Donna as well, depending on what happens.
Yeah,
And it's a nice way to continue that legacy, I feel.
yeah, because the Christmas special, when that happens, that's going to be very interesting because they get. Is it going to be a follow-on?
Mhm.
It's like at the end of the 60th anniversary specials, is it going to be like to be continued, or something like that? That'd be cool because we've never really seen that before going into a Christmas special. It's just been additional episode, really, a Christmas special. But it would be nice if it actually fell into the story of the 60th to a continuation.
Yeah, yeah, I'd love to see that. And I guess if we could look back at the 50th, we had that one big blockbuster special, where all of the doctors teamed up to save Gallifrey. And then we got Time with the Doctor just over a month later. And that kind of picked up the story with Gallifrey because, the Doctor arrived on Trenzalore and he found out the cracks in time were caused by the Time Lords who wanted to break into the universe again. So maybe there could be something similar there. So, like, some big moment happens in the 60th, happens, and then it's picked up again through, like, a time jump or something. So it happens, like, years later for the Doctor when he reappears as Shooty in the Christmas special.
Yeah. I always like the Christmas special because it's longer than a normal episode.
Yeah, because they normally go on for at least an hour, which is always good to have as much Doctor Who as you can as well. And also, I feel like there's a certain magic for it airing on Christmas because you have your Christmas dinner, you're opening presents, you're spending time with your family and loved ones, and then right as you head towards the evening, because they normally air about 5-6 o'clock normally on Christmas.
Yeah.
So, tune into BBC One and then you hear that iconic title sequence and then you're just like, yeah, I'm sorted.
Yeah, I'm really interested about the title sequence, what it's going to be like, because like we've seen like when they've done like they've announced the Giggle, Wild Beyond and the Starbase, they've been all series 4 kind of themed, haven't they? But I don't think when the 60th airs, I think there's going to be a little bit of a mixture. I don't think they're just going to be like that. I think it will be start really maybe old school. They might start with maybe a first Doctor theme and then be a bit like a mixture, I reckon.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably a good title sequence to go for the 60th specials, kind of cater to all fans, because certain fans loved one era more than the other, and I feel like it's a nice way to reference them all, especially when maybe you can't get certain characters from those eras to reappear in the specials. I feel like that would be a nice way to cater to those fans.
Yeah, because it's going to be interesting to see what the first scene's going to be like of the 60th. Is it going to be the Doctor in his TARDIS, or is it going to be Donna, or is it going to be someone completely different?
Yeah, exactly. There's always wild speculation about how any of the episodes are going to play out. But I am looking forward to, speaking of the TARDIS, I am looking forward to seeing the first scenes with that new interior because it looks, well, from what I've heard, it looks amazing.
Yeah, I think it's going to look really good. And I hope we get to see it when it airs, not get it shown to us before, because I would much prefer I'll see it like to see the new. I always like to see a new TARDIS when I've seen it before.
Yeah, same here. That's what we normally get anyway. With like TARDIS reveals, like even though with Jodie's it was leaked before her first episode had aired. By the time the Ghost Monument had aired, that was like first time we had properly seen it on screen, and it, as much as I wasn't too much of a fan of that interior, I still remember, that buzz of seeing like the new TARDIS for the first time.
Yeah.
You'll never really forget that. And I think there's only one time I recall where the BBC announced a new TARDIS interior beforehand, which was with Matt Smith's second one.
Oh yeah.
With the one that was used in, I always forget the Christmas special name. The one with the snowman.
The snowman. Yeah, I know the one you mean. I did like that one actually. It's very similar to Pete Capaldi's one.
Yeah, it was. I think the only difference was that there was no roundels. There was a lot less lighting, and the lighting that they did have, it was like a
very dark
light blue. Yeah,
very dark. I did like Jodie's one. I liked it. It was a little bit different. Like I like the color yellow.
Yeah.
Yellow is normally a color that for diversity of different things, so it's pretty good. The only thing I didn't like about it is still very small.
Yeah. It did feel quite condensed. I mean, the TARDIS anyway, despite being bigger on the inside, we only ever see the console room mainly. So you always have that feeling like, oh, there's more out there. But I feel like with Jodie's, it was just kind of like, it just felt like, I don't know, like a cupboard. I mean, a big cupboard at that, but it just kind of felt like that. which was a shame because the outside of it, which we are keeping the exterior, thankfully. I thought the outside of it was gorgeous.
Yeah, the outside of it was very nice. Um, like I like it. I want it to be like I think Shooties will have a completely different one to the 60th probably because
Yeah,
I reckon the 60th one will just be for the 60th, and then it changes. But I did really like my favourite one would probably be the Ninth and 10th Doctor's one because I just like how big it is. Yeah, it looks like a mansion, like how much room you have in there, and that is my favourite one. But I do like any of them, but they're all good.
yeah, about to say, yeah. Like at the end of the day, despite any initial reactions I've had to seeing a TARDIS, they have all grown on me. Yeah, I prefer some to others, but at the end of the day, it's the TARDIS, and it will always find a way to grow on you because you see it so much during the series.
Yeah.
So
They use it probably every episode, um,
yeah,
like unless they can't use it or for some reason. But yeah,
yeah.
it's gonna be exciting to see what like if Shooty gets his own Sonic, his own personalized one. Um,
Well, with the Sonic, I mean, I don't have the packaging anymore, but it said the on the like the packaging that it was just the 14th Doctor Sonic.
yeah,
So that makes me feel like it's only for Tenant. And I mean, I do have it here actually, but yeah, the actual Sonic does feel like it's meant to resemble other Doctor Sonics.
yeah,
So I feel like this is used for the 60th just because it's um yeah, meant to kind of pay homage to previous Doctors and stuff. And
yeah,
then for the series 14 and onwards, we'll get a brand new one, which will be whatever they've got in store for shooting.
yeah. I think that too because it literally just says 14th Doctor Sonic. But for Shooty's one, I just want a different one. I want one that's very different. Like I wasn't a fan of 13th Sonic because I just didn't like it. I didn't like it's not my favorite one, but they're all good.
Yeah,
They're all Sonic. But for Shooty's one, I'd love to see like an orangey purple kind of one. One
yeah,
like that we haven't seen before.
yeah, certainly. And I think design wise, I don't mind what it looks like really. But one thing I would say about the Sonic is that I just hope it doesn't end up being overused.
Hmm.
Because that was one of the criticisms of 12 and 13's era is with that it was just used a lot to it's like a quick way to wrap up storylines and stuff. Whereas I feel like if they didn't rely on it too much, I wouldn't mind if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I agree. I think they need to like really with the 12th Doctor. He didn't really use the second one. He got that a lot. He hardly saw that one.
Yeah, you have
Um,
the Sonic
yeah,
sunglasses,
yeah.
yeah.
The Sonic sunglasses were used, but with Jodie, it's almost like she had it like a wand at times. Like, like as she
Yeah.
hold it, like it's like like the flux. Like the first,
Yes.
I think the Halloween Apocalypse. She gets it out, um, and discovers what the flux is. But I didn't think that was necessary. I think you just know that that is the flux. Like coming.
Yeah. Just seeing what it was doing to all
Yeah,
those planets.
yeah. I don't think you need the Sonic. It would have been funny if she drops it though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, certainly.
um, but yeah, I would like that too. I think Shoot yeah does have his own Sonic 'cause I think I've seen it like used very briefly. Um,
Yeah.
I think he opened the door or something. But yeah, I like the Sonic, but like you say, we just need not used as much.
Yeah, certainly, certainly.
Yeah. So do you have any favourite seasons that like Doctor Who? That like that?
Oh, for New Whom,
Yeah.
I feel like it would have to be series 4 for obvious reasons. The 10th Doctor and Donna, David Tennant and Catherine Tate have amazing chemistry together. I feel like every single episode from that series is just perfect. You start with Partners in Crime with the Adipose, and then you got episodes like Turn Left, which is like a very dark episode. You've got Silence in the Library and The Forest of the Dead. which is such a good horror episode. You got Midnight, which is another good horror episode, like a very claustrophobic one. And then yeah, you got Stolen Earth and Journey's End, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you feel we're gonna get that kind of thing? Kind of vibes for Journey's End and So on Earth gave us, like all those people returning. Do you think it's gonna be a similar thing for the 60th?
Maybe. I feel like the 60th though, again, it's hard to tell because we haven't really been told everything. We don't really know too much. But I feel like the returns are going to be minimal. However, I feel like with Murray Gold returning, there will obviously be reworked music and stuff, and there'll be, your typical references. I feel like the nostalgia element won't be in the 60th too much, but it'll be in the future of the show because we've got spin-offs coming. We know of that. There's that heavily rumored Unit one, which will probably be used to reintroduce older characters like Martha, maybe even Gwen from Torchwood. Like, there's plenty of returns that could be set up there, which I feel like could happen.
Yeah. I agree. Like series 4 is one of my favorite seasons too, because like every episode is just great. There's not one episode in that series that isn't. But yeah, what I think will happen is I do think Martha will be because you know that I think the giggle is where they're showing like where the doctor is saying it's driving you mad, laughing at the human race. That scene. I think that's in unit headquarters.
Yeah.
The new unit headquarters before it got blown up.
Yeah.
Um, so that will be there. I think Martha's in the room. They're not showing anyone who's in the room except from the doctor. He might not
Yeah.
even be in the room. He might be somewhere else. But I think you'll have Martha in there. You have that new I've got a name now. But the new person that got announced in the wheelchair. I forgot her name.
Oh, Ruth Madeley. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
her.
remember the character she's playing
Mm.
though.
Yeah, I think she's probably a member of unit.
Yeah.
Like similar to kind of Osgood kind of vibes. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not sure if she'll be in it, but she could. But yeah, she should. I think she'll be kind of Kate's right hand man with Badley's kind of character. Then you have Martha there,
Yeah.
because we remember back all those years ago, she did work for Unit. Um,
Yeah.
she did work for Unit, so I think you have all them people working for Unit, and then like you say, it will progress into a spin-off show in between seasons.
Yeah, exactly. And a unit like, well, any spin-off to be honest would fill in the gaps where Doctor Who's not on TV as well. So we'll be getting a lot of
Yeah.
Whoniverse content.
Yeah, because in my opinion, I think Series 14 should begin in April, May time. I think that's a perfect time
Yeah.
to have it on. Because I'm not a fan of having it like Flux was like quite late. Because at least we're having like say we had the Christmas special, we only have a few months to wait, and then if they do a spin-off next year, you still have. It's not like you're missing Doctor Who for months.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, spin-off won't feel exactly like Doctor Who because it will try and change up the format. It could also be a slightly more adult one, like Class and Torchwood, so it might be a little bit more gory and stuff. Or it could be something like the Sarah Jane Adventures, where it's a bit more, light-hearted, a little bit more funny as well.
Yeah,
Which,
yeah. I'm not sure what started first, the Sarah Jane Adventures or Torchwood.
oh, you know what? Without Googling it, I feel like it might have been Torchwood, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
But I didn't watch Torchwood when it first aired. I had to wait
Mm.
until I was older.
Yeah, I didn't either. I watched it in lockdown.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I was on BBC iPlayer and I never watched it before, and I watched it and it was pretty good. What I saw of it, and I watched Sarah Jane Adventures though when I think it was on. Um,
Yeah.
it was kind of a kids program at the time, so it was all right to watch when it was out. But yeah, I think they'll do about start with 2 spin-offs. It's fine. Do
Hmm.
like a kiddie one, like you could get the gang from Sarah Jane Adventures back together,
Yeah,
like
that would
growing
be
up
cool.
now. Like you got Luke, Rani, Clyde. They're a bit older now. They're all
Yeah.
involved in Doctor Who. Like, they do Big Finish and that, so I think they'll be interested.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like, enough time has passed to have characters like that return. and they were so popular on the CBBC, and I don't know if it would air, like any spin-off would air on that channel now, because of the way BBC is changing up how
Yeah,
their content is going out and stuff. But it would be cool anyway to receive a spin-off that's kind of similar to that in terms of tone.
yeah. Like I think what they want to do is they're all kind of Whoniverse or Doctor Who verse of it,
Yeah,
where you're having all these different spin-offs while the show is going on.
yeah,
You could have a Paul McGann spin-off at some point, which does need to happen, I think.
yeah. Oh, yeah, certainly. Yeah,
You could even have half a dozen spin-offs going on, if you want, like a Rose Tyler spin-off, a mini series. So I think that's what they want to do. So you
yeah,
just like, but don't do too many to start with. Just do a couple because you don't want loads going on.
yeah. I feel like they've got to, with whatever grand plan they've got with Doctor Who, with if it's building up a like a cinematic universe like Marvel and DC, you've got to obviously take your time like Marvel did. However, I do feel like they've got to not be greedy with it,
Mm.
because if they're rushing out content and rushing out, new spin-offs and stuff, I feel like there's a sacrifice for quantity over quality. So we could end up getting like two horrible seasons of, I don't know, the Tegan and Nissa adventures and a spin-off centered around K9 again. And then we've got to wait like a year to get a good spin-off series with maybe Joe Grant and Ace or something. Just throwing out random spin-offs there, but you'd have to wait a while to get a good spin-off, whereas you'd have loads of lackluster ones in between.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I don't. I think Series 14 should be first.
Yeah,
Um, I'm not hopeful that we might not even get one next year. I think 2025. I think probably we get that first spin-off.
yeah,
I think because they need to think hard what they want to do. I think Unit is probably the best one they can do at the moment.
yeah,
Because it seems it will link in. Like you get Unit in the 6th year, Unit in Series 14. Um,
yeah.
I think it will all link in very nicely.
Yeah, and as well, I mean, with Unit, Unit they could have done years ago, because Unit has been a part of the show for such a long time, since the second Doctor's era. So, you know, they wouldn't have to really establish that one too much, really.
Mm.
But I feel like with anything else, obviously, you'd have to wait until they introduce a character that's worthy to have a spin-off. Like with Captain Jack from series one, it wasn't until series one had finished, and then we saw where the characters were left at the game station. That obviously set up his spin-off. Whereas, like, if we to get something similar, we'd have to wait until series 14 is there to see if there's a character that's going to be in a similar situation. And then there you go, you've got your spin-off.
Yeah, but that's completely it. It gets how popular one character can be. So like I don't know if you have Rose um played by Yasmin Finney, if she ends up being this, I don't know, she might be this Time Lord or something like that. Like she might not be able to die or have a character like that, and then it progresses, and then you
Yeah,
find all these other actors that can make it happen.
yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with Russell hiring like young talent as well. Because they've got it in them to do a lot of like Doctor Who episodes, because that for a lot of them they're just starting out their career. Um, and it would be nice to kind of use them for as long as they can, I guess. Because you never know, the new Rose might end up being like having similar success to like Sarah Jane, and having like that reputation, like becoming a household name essentially, which I would like to see.
I would too because I've seen Yasmin Finney in Heartstopper, and
Yeah.
she's very good. She's a very good
Mhm.
actor. But yeah, Yasmin Finney, and like I can see it being really well for the character of Rose now, and in Doctor Who, and we'll kind of get. I would love some flashbacks in the 60th too from Series 14. That would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Just kind of like acknowledging what's been happening and stuff. Yeah, it would be lovely.
Yeah, especially if new people are watching it as well. Like they don't know who these characters are, so give them a
Yeah,
bit of
exactly.
context as well. But I think when they go like BBC iPlayer for us, what it would go on, I think what they'll do, which will make sense, if put six. I imagine the 60th anniversary is going to be part of Series 14. So in the kind of thing that they'll put Series 14, it will start with the 60th specials, which will kind of lead, and the Christmas special too, which will lead into Series 14. So you have about at least 12 episodes in Series 14.
Yeah, which would kind of make up the usual amount of episodes which we used to get.
Yeah.
So it's
So
yeah,
yeah.
and I feel like obviously we don't know what the narrative is going to be for the new era so far, but from what we've seen, your idea there would work really well for sure.
Yeah, because it makes sense because you don't want to put 60th anniversary specials on their own kind of thing. You'd think it would work and make sense why they've done 8 episodes for the next season. Probably because they've done about four already.
Hmm.
And that'll make sense. And then hopefully series 15 will go back to the same format as we were used to years ago, having the 13 episode a season.
Yeah.
Um, because I think 13 episodes is a good amount. Um,
Yeah, it is. Obviously, the show is more expensive to make these days, especially with technology rising. I mean, I'd happily settle for at least 10, but
yeah,
13, like if we can reach 13 and then a Christmas special and then spin-offs, I feel like that would certainly stop a lot of, moaning and stuff in the fandom, certainly.
yeah. There's always moaning, isn't there? Like
Oh
everyone's got
yeah,
something to say.
always,
Yeah,
always.
everyone's got something to say. But it is going to be interesting to see how it all turns out because there is so much to talk about.
Yeah, there certainly is.
Yeah. But Jack, before we finish, we spoke about lots.
Yeah.
And do you have a favourite quote or a quote that you relate to in Doctor Who?
Well, I do have a favorite quote, in fact, Mason, and this one I actually got see it, so I'll read it out. Laugh hard, run fast, be kind. Which, for those who are listening to your podcast, it is the quote from Peter Capaldi's Regeneration, which I always felt was such a good regeneration scene. Giving advice to the next Doctor. The music, A Good Shepherd's Boy, is an amazing track. I really love that. Beautifully composed, and yeah, that quote is just something I feel like to live by because life can get a bit negative and stuff. It can get a little bit jarring, and yeah, you might find yourself in a negative headspace sometimes, but there's always something to look forward to. There's always something to, you know, like for example, someone might be feeling down now, and there might be a Doctor Who fan, but in a simple way, think, oh, November's not too far away. Doctor Who's coming back. And I know that's probably not the answer to everyone's problems, don't get me wrong. But for me, that would be like, oh, I've got something to look forward to. And I start thinking about it more and I'm like, yes. And then I'm laughing, but because I was feeling down.
Yeah,
And that's the important thing in life. Always cherish the laughter because,
yeah,
there's going to be countless funny moments going in life. And I feel like, yeah, that's something to remember. But then the be kind bit, obviously, that's part of Doctor Who. That's part of the Doctor's character. That's who they are. Trying to be kind, and I feel like that's something the fandom does need to remember.
definitely.
Certainly,
I completely agree. And I just love that about the 12th Doctor. That's what he's about. It's about
yeah,
being kind and it's about being nice, because that just that's probably the most popular. I would say one of the most popular quotes in Doctor Who that people relate to because
yeah,
what he's saying is being kind. And I always say he must have rehearsed that for so long when he done that because he saying loads of things. Probably one of the longest speeches for a Doctor Regeneration as well. Um,
yeah.
yeah. But do you have a favourite regeneration at all, or do you just like them all?
Well, I mean, I like them all. I think they are all really cool. Um, However, despite me loving the regeneration speech from the 12th Doctors, my favorite one would be David Tennant's "I Don't Want to Go." Because yeah, that scene where the TARDIS exploded, it was the first time they'd done a scene like that,
Yeah.
where the TARDIS had been completely destroyed because of a regeneration. and then just seeing like Matt Smith just kind of like just springing out. He's like screaming, ready to go, and the TARDIS is crashing back in Earth. Yeah, that was something that got me really hyped.
That is a very good scene. Probably only Doctor Regeneration. I actually cried when I was watching that
Yeah,
scene. When I was younger, and yeah, it was that looked like he was saying goodbye to all of us. But now I think it's time for him to realise that it's okay to go now. I think.
yeah,
I think hopefully, if there is even a regeneration for the 60th, because there might not be, there might be just like that shooty. I believe this is what I think. What's going to happen? I think the only way we're going to see cameos of former Doctors is going to be the Doctor's regeneration is messed up, and this is where we see Shooty pop out and saying, "What the hell's going on here?" I think whoever Neil Patrick Harris's character is, he's gonna pull them out each other. So Shooty is out his own body, face to face
yeah,
with David Tennant. I think that's how that's gonna happen. And
yeah,
then quickly, really brief cameos you might get from Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi or Chris Eccleston, possibly, and other doctors will be popping out and they'll say a little thing or something that relates to the story. That's the only thing I can see a former Doctor's returning. I don't see them playing
yeah.
a crucial part to the story, but it'll be nice even if they have a small part to play.
Yeah, and I feel like it would be like that scenario that you mentioned there, would be similar to the Guardians of the Edge from the Power of the Doctor. They're there, they
Yeah,
have a small part, but it's crucial enough to be a reason for them to be there. They're not just there for the sake of it, they're there for the story, because yeah, David Tennant has come back as a new Doctor. There's obviously something wrong with regeneration. So that is going to be explored in the specials. So yeah, if regeneration is being explored, then we probably will see some older faces turn up, which would certainly be amazing to see.
yes, yeah, I think so as well. But it's going to be interesting, and I think what will work well is because what would work well because I think they'll be a part of their bodies, Shooty and David. What I think will work well instead of a regeneration is they're actually talking to each other. They have this nice conversation. David said, "I'm ready to go now. Like, it's my time. I've been so selfish all these years, and this is why I'm here. There's a reason why I'm here." And literally, David walks maybe away into his TARDIS or the sunset. Be nice to be on the beach, they have
Yeah,
my nice memories, but yeah, I think that would be a nice ending instead of regeneration, which would be more sad for probably a
yeah,
lot of us because we know what David does. He likes to pull everyone's strings and make us all kind of cry and that. But yeah, I think that would be a nice ending and something like is going to happen to Shooty as he's on a graveyard, he's on a church looking distraught, and presumably the Christmas special. So lots
yeah,
of things to talk about, and
exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of things to talk about there when it comes to the Christmas special.
definitely. But thanks, Jack. I'm glad that you've come on and you've enjoyed yourself.
No, thank you, Mason, for inviting me. It has been a good chat about Doctor Who. It is always good to talk to fellow fans. And yeah, it's kind of got me thinking a little bit more about the 60th as well, about what could happen, especially the last bit you mentioned there about, the incarnation separating, but then David leaves in a bit more of a unique way.
Yeah,
But I imagine whatever way he goes, it will be emotional.
definitely because we don't want to. There's no, as far as I'm aware, there's not been a regeneration on this anniversary before, and really, you don't want to be sad on an anniversary. It's all about being celebrated. But
Yeah.
I think it will all lead on to the Christmas special, which we'll see what happens then. But yeah, before we go, let everyone know what your podcast is called, so if they want to check it out.
Oh, yeah, thank you. So my podcast, which I've recently started, is called Just a Nerd, and I've released a couple of episodes so far where I've spoken to the likes of Joe Street, aka the Confused Adipose, where I've spoken about his fan films, about the history of his YouTube channel, and his thoughts on the current Doctor Who era. And then I've also spoken to Ellie Littlechild, who is the one of the main presenters of Who Culture, which is one of the most known Doctor Who YouTube channels, where I spoke to her about obviously her history with Who Culture, how she got involved with presenting and stuff, and again talking about the show and what it means to her. And I've got a few other guests lined up, such as Tharies, Luke Newman from DW 2012, and a few other surprises. So if you want to check that out, yeah, just look on YouTube or Spotify for Just a Nerd, and yeah, I'll be sure to surprise you all with some cool guests in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, so if like Jet says, if you want to check out his podcast, go ahead, go have a look at it because it sounds pretty good. Joe came on this podcast actually at the start of the year, so
Oh, awesome.
that was very fun. But thanks for sharing, Jack, and hopefully if you want, you can come back for a group episode and
Yeah, I'd certainly be up for that.
yeah.
Certainly would.
Definitely. But thanks, Jack. Thanks to anyone listening and watching today. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you tomorrow or whenever this episode airs this month. All a bit back to front when everything airs, but well, I hope you've enjoyed it, and see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.